Hello everybody and welcome back to another Schlip on Switch video. With the release of the Switch 2 swiftly approaching, I thought it would be fun to make a series of videos going through all the incredible games that Nintendo has given us. From first-party releases to third-party games that Nintendo published in North America, to first-party IP that Nintendo let third-party developers give us amazing experiences for. The Switch really has an incredible library, and I'll be making a series of videos going through all these year by year. This intro will be the same for all of them, so if you've already seen it, you can skip ahead, or you can watch it again, and each video will be linked in the description below, so subscribe, ring the bell for notification of future videos, and let's get started. I will be focusing only on the games, steelbooks, and the collector editions. While I do have a lot of amazing merchandise from a lot of incredible sources, I'll be only focusing on said products. So let's get started. Hello everybody and welcome back to Year 2 of my Nintendo Switch First Party Releases Retrospective. Year 2, 2018, was the biggest year when it came to releases, with 20 games released during the year. And a wide variety of ports, new games, third-party games that were published by Nintendo for Switch, and some interesting experiences that may or may not have turned out well. So let's get started with the first game, Dragon Quest Builders. This one released on February 9th. Now, Dragon Quest Builders is the first game that is a Square Enix IP that was published by Nintendo for Switch. There's a couple of these games that throughout the release lifespan of the Switch. Some of them, like Dragon Quest Builders, released first on other systems and then was ported to the Switch, and some of them were Switch exclusives at first, and I will talk about those then. So, Dragon Quest Builders, I did not actually play any games from the Dragon Quest series, but I've always been interested in it. And I decided to try this out a little bit, but I'm not really big into the building genre. But as I mentioned in my previous video, prior to the Switch, I did not play a lot of different games in a lot of different genres, so I was always excited to try out new things. So I did try this one a bit, but ultimately I didn't really stick around with it. I wasn't really feeling it. So I didn't really play much, but if you played this one, let me know in the comments what you think of it. And now let's move on to the next game. Bayonetta 2 released February 16th for the Nintendo Switch. And in the US and Europe, it released as a double pack with Bayonetta 2 on the cartridge and Bayonetta 1 as a download code. In Japan, there was a collector edition called the Climax Edition that included a Bayonetta 1 on a cartridge. The cartridge was exclusive to that edition and very hard to get, and I unfortunately did not succeed in getting that myself. Fortunately for all of us, Bayonetta 1 did get a physical release a couple years later, so I will be talking about Bayonetta 1. Since I'm doing this based off US release dates, I will be talking about Bayonetta 1 in that video. So for this, I'll just be talking about Bayonetta 2. Now, before I talk about that, while I did not get the Climax Edition, I did manage to get the Steelbook for the game that was included in the Climax Edition. So it's double-sided. We got Bayonetta 2 on one side and Bayonetta 1 on the other side. And the spine says Bayonetta. Now, this is the Steelbook that came included in the Japanese Climax Edition. There was also a collector edition in Europe that included just the game and the download code version that had the same Steelbook, just with English text instead of Japanese text. And one difference for that Steelbook was, let me just get this out of the plastic, was the Japanese Steelbook has 2 cartridge slots, while the European Steelbook only has 1 cartridge slot. I only have the Japanese version, though. The North America did not get a collector edition for the game, unfortunately. Now, Bayonetta 2, let's talk about it a little bit. I did not play the Bayonetta franchise prior to this release. And I did play the first one before I played number 2, but I'm only going to be talking about 2 now. I quite enjoyed this game. It's a really fun action combat game. Interesting story. I didn't love the story in this one so much, but I did have a lot of fun just beating up demons and angels and all the enemies and seeing all the demon forms and Bayonetta's here. I love the style and the music of the Bayonetta series. It's just really fun, witchy campiness, and it's just really fun. I really enjoyed this this game. It was fun. Maybe one day I'll play it again, but it didn't stand out to me as an amazing game, but I did enjoy it. The story though was decent enough, I guess. I don't really like remember it enjoying it all that much, but I did enjoy playing through it. Really fun game, good action, and really fun style. Just the stylization just made me love it, and the music and the humor. I just really it's a cool franchise, and it's really nice that Nintendo. I mean, this is technically a Sega IP, but Nintendo took it over the publishing rights from Bayonetta 2 onward. So technically now I guess it's a Nintendo series, even though it's a Sega IP. All right, next up on March 16th, we got Kirby Star Allies. This is the first. Oh, I forgot to mention that this is technically a Wii U port. So now, March 16th, our first original game for the Switch in 2018. I always enjoyed playing Kirby. I've played a couple of them over the years, never like fully. This was like the first Kirby game I actually played from start to finish properly, like my own copy and not like just borrowing it from someone else. And I had a blast playing it. The Kirby games are all very simple, but the charm is always amazing. The music and all the copy abilities and just it's always a really fun games. And I really enjoyed Star Allies. And yeah, it was just a really fun game. Great Kirby. I love Kirby, and it's really cute. So let me know what you think of Kirby in the comments. All right, next up, we got a dual release on April 20th of Nintendo Labo 1 Variety Pack and Nintendo Labo 2 Robots. I did not try out the Labo games. I only bought the cartridges off of eBay. I don't have the cardboard for these two. So I didn't really try them out. They did look cute and interesting. Definitely like an interesting concept using the Switch and the IR camera. And it's cool when Nintendo plays around and experiments with ideas, but I did not try this one out for myself. So if you tried these out, let me know in the comments below. Next up, we have another Wii U port with Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. And this is the Funky Kong. I have the Funky Kong cover up, the regular cover. Donkey Kong Country returns. I played a little bit of one of the Donkey Kong lands on the Game Boy years back. I mean, not like when it came out, but like, the DS was already out at that point, but I was playing it on one of my old roommates' Game Boys, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. Never finished it, and then I played a little bit of Returns on the 3DS, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Tropical Freeze right now. I was excited to try this one out. I played it for a bit, didn't get very far in the game, decided I wasn't really having fun or in the mood of it then, and you know what? It's something I do want to try again at some point, but it's not like a priority for me. But it's really fun. I like the visuals, and the music was fun. And Funky Kong, I always loved playing as Funky Kong in Mario Kart Wii, so I was really excited to see that, but it didn't really stick with me, this one. Another interesting thing about this game is, while it was a Wii U port, it's actually this was more expensive at release than the Wii U version. Just an interesting thing to know, but it did get some new content with the Funky updates. So yeah, Donkey Kong Country Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Did you play this one? Let me know in the comments what you think of it. And now for the next game, we have another Wii U port with Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. Now, this is actually a port of the Wii U game and the 3DS game. So I think the Wii U and 3DS did have some different content. I'm not sure if the 3DS had all the content the Wii U had, but this is a combination of both of those. And if you watched my last video where I was talking about Fire Emblem Warriors, I said that was my first Musou game and my first Fire Emblem game. So for this one, I'm going to say this was my second Musou game. Really excited because I loved the Musou game with Fire Emblem Warriors, and I was really excited to see it with Zelda. Now, as with that, with the Fire Emblem one, I really didn't know any of the characters. With this one, I did know a bit about the characters, but I never properly played any of the Zelda games. As I mentioned, also besides before Breath of the Wild, I did play a little bit of some of them on emulators, but I never really played any of them properly. So I wasn't really super familiar with all these characters from the games that they're from, but I did know about them more than I did know about the Fire Emblem games. And this game is just packed with content, just a ton of stuff to do, different modes, a ton of different characters. I basically only played the main story. I played a little bit of the side modes, but mostly just went through the main story, and I loved every second of it. This game was just so much fun, and I loved it. Again, the Muso combat's just amazing. The Zelda music and all the locations and the characters. I didn't have that nostalgia feel that a lot of people might have had, but I did love playing as all the different characters. And it's just such a great time and a great game. I just love the Muso combats. I love seeing them with Nintendo characters. So let me know in the comments what you think of this one, because this is one of the top Switch games in my mind, even though it is a Wii U and 3DS port. All right, next up, talking about 3DS, we got Sushi Strikers: The Way of Sushido. Now, this is the second game that came out as a dual release on the Switch and the 3DS. So both of those versions of the game came out at the same date, and it's a very interesting puzzle game. It looked really cute. I did play the demo a bit, and I did enjoy it, but I never actually ended up playing the full release, even though I always meant to. So I don't really have a lot to talk about this one. So if you played this, let me know in the comments what you think of it. And now for the next game, we have Mario Tennis Aces. I was really excited for this one. I loved Wii Sports Tennis, and I played it for hours and hours and hours. And I always wanted to see it with the Mario. I always saw the Mario Tennis games. I never actually played any of them, so I was really excited to try this one out. And I never gave it enough time. I'll be honest, I played it for a few minutes, and I just never gave it enough time. There are so many games on the Switch, and so many games I wanted to try out that, unfortunately, just some of them I didn't give enough time. And this is definitely one of those games that I need to give more time to, because it just looks fun. I heard mixed things about it. Some people loved it, some people didn't. But it just looks really fun, and all the Mario characters. I know it got a lot of updates with new content and characters. But yeah, this is one I need to get back to. So Mario Tennis Aces, do you need to play this game? If you have, let me know in the comments, and let's discuss it. All right, next up. I feel like I forgot to say dates because I've been spacing out. So I'm going to rewind a little bit. And we had Labo, I said, on April 20th. I know I said those ones. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze on May 4th. Hyrule Warriors on May 18th. And March 22nd in Japan, I believe. But US was May 18th. I'm not editing this, so this is what you're getting. Sushi Strikers was June 8th. And Mario Tennis Aces was June 22nd. All right, next up, on July 18th, we got Octopath Traveler, another Square Enix game. Now, this one, unlike Dragon Quest Builders, this was a Switch exclusive for a while and published by Nintendo. It did later get ported to other systems, and the publishing rights changed from Nintendo to Square Enix. But for a while, it was a Nintendo-published game, and a first-party release, technically, so it was Switch exclusive and Nintendo published. I think even now on the Switch, on the eShop, it does say Square Enix published, but even for a while after it went multi-platform, it did say Nintendo published on the eShop. And this game also gave us my first collector edition for the year. Bayonetta 2 was really the first collector edition, but that didn't get released in the US, but Octopath Traveler did. Now, this is still one of my favorite Nintendo Switch collector editions, simply because of the beauty of the pop-up book. Hopefully it's on frame properly, but the pop-up book collector edition. Just this, I love this. And this game was announced with the Nintendo Switch the Nintendo Switch reveal. This was one of the first games announced. And the HD 2D art style was also announced. Then we've since got multiple games in the HD 2D art style, which is absolutely just stunning. But this was the first one, and I just love that pop-up book. This makes it like my favorite collector edition. I should probably pack this away properly and not improperly. And, finally released. We waited a while for it, but we finally got it. And this game, I really enjoyed playing it when I started playing it. I was having a lot of fun playing it. About halfway through the game, I just started getting very burnt out by all the grinding I was doing, and I put it down for a break, and I never continued it. But I was having a really fun time with the characters and the story, and playing around with the party system, and just the gorgeous art style and music. And it's a game that I want to go back to, but I don't know if I ever will. Based on what I heard, to just play Octopath Traveler 2, but I'll talk about that later. Um, this is just one of my favorite releases for the Switch, just from the collector edition and the artwork. And it always has a good place in my heart and brain, even if I never finish the game. Hopefully one day I will. So yeah, Octopath Traveler, have you played this game? Let's discuss it in the comments, and now let's move on to the next game. Next up, on July 13th, we got Captain Cho... Leave it. Next up, on July 13th, we got Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. This game is a expanded port from the Wii U original that was a spin-off of Super Mario 3D World. And they took that Wii U version and expanded it and ported it to both the Switch and the 3DS. Both of those versions came out on the same day, but since it's a port of a Wii U game, I consider it a little differently from the other Day 1 Switch 3DS games that I mentioned. Now, to go talk about this game, I'm going to welcome back Chaim.
Hello. Good to be back.
Welcome back. So Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is a really cute spin-off of the Mario series where you have a little area and you have to walk around as Toad and complete little puzzles and try to collect as many items as possible, or if you just want to get to the end goal. Really cute, short levels that don't take a lot of time to play. There's a lot of levels to get through. I didn't get through all of them myself, but I did find the game a little bit slow when I wanted to just complete levels. I need to be in the right mindset to play it. What do you think, Chaim?
So I didn't actually finish it myself either. It's one of those games that, like Potion Permit, like Animal Crossing, it's one of those cozy games, and I like it. I mean, it's a cutesy adventure that happens to feel cozy. I really like the fact that they took a character from Mario Galaxy, the original, and made it into a full-fledged character, because I guess enough people appreciated Captain Toad and his antics. But this game, as a standalone game, looked really cute. There were cute isometric puzzles. Now, granted, I wish it wasn't just isometric. I wish it did more with different perspectives more often than it did in the game.
I mean, you did have some, the minecart levels.
Yeah, but there could have been more variety. Some of it felt like a copy-paste formula. But I never played the Wii U version. I didn't even get a Wii U, and I really want to because the game's on it still.
This game also did get expanded content based off of Odyssey, Super Mario Odyssey, which was available in the 3DS version as well. So it's cool that 3DS had Mario Odyssey, and also did get an update with Labo VR support for some levels.
Was that done in, the Wii U version, too? Did it get an update?
No, the Wii U didn't get any updates.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Did you play this game? Let us know in the comments what you think of it, and let's discuss it. So now, let's move on to the next game. Next, on July 27th, we got Go Vacation. This is a port/remake or so of a game originally for the Wii. This was published for Nintendo on the Switch, but originally on the Wii, it was published by Bandai Namco. So, I haven't played this one, don't really know too much about it, but it's just interesting that the original on Wii was Bandai, and now this on Switch was Nintendo. So if you've played this game, whether on the Wii or on the Switch, let me know in the comments what you think of it. Now, on September 14th, we got the third installment in the Nintendo Labo series with Labo 3 Vehicle. Now, this one I actually did get the cardboard for. Nice, big, massive box, but I never actually opened it up or tried it out. So, it's cool to see the Labo series continue. And if you did try this one, let me know in the comments what you think of it. Next up, on September 21st, we got Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna the Golden Country. Now, Torna the Golden Country is a DLC prequel to the main Xenoblade Chronicles 2 game. And I loved the main Xenoblade games. I was really, really excited to main Xenoblade 2. So I was really excited when Torna got announced with a prequel and expanding the story. Now, this is technically a standalone story to the main game that could be played either before or after the main game. And it is a pretty hefty DLC with about 40 hours worth of content. So they ended up giving it its own physical release. So if you bought the Season Pass or for the main game, it was downloadable content in the main game, or you could have bought it separately. They did charge a little more for it separately, both digitally and physically, and the separate pack also came out a week after the digital version of the DLC. Now, if you didn't buy the Season Pass for the main game, the physical for Torna came with a download code, which gave you waves 1 through 5 of the DLC, or 1 through 4 of the DLC for the main game, and then had Torna as a separate icon on the main Switch. And that was really the only way to get waves 1 through 4 separately for your main game without having the Torna tied into the main game, which was interesting to see that they did that. Now, to talk about this game itself, this game is 100% utter perfection. That's it. I loved Xenoblade 2, but the main battle system was... I never fully understood the main battle system. I'm not one that really gets very technical with all these RPG battle systems. I know. I love watching people like videos online and I'll be like, yeah, okay, yeah, I love that. I'm unfortunately not as good at them. But this really streamlined a lot of the issues I had with the combat for the main game and just made it so much fun. I was like, I'm going to play this game as much as I can. I did not 100% this game. I say I did it 99% because there was 3 final super bosses in the game that I did not do. Otherwise, I did every quest, and I just didn't want to like mindlessly grind to be able to get those last 3 super bosses. But this game is perfection, and the story was so good. And while they say you can play it before you play the main game, which you can, I just would recommend playing the main game before you play the prequel, just the way the story plays out. And I'm not going to say any story spoilers, but the way this game ended, especially if you played the main game first, the way this story of this game ended just had me weeping. I mean, the main game made me cry, but this game just had me weeping the way the game ended. And I just loved the characters that we see in this, and the way they changed up the battle system. And, you know, it's a Xenoblade game, so the world and the music and the battles and everything's beautiful. But this game just was so incredible. It's also the first game, or not the first game, but technically it's a game that I picked up when I went to visit the Nintendo New York store for the first time. You know, since then I've been many times. You know, this was on a trip to New York before I actually moved here. So this was what I picked up on my first trip to New York. And this game is just perfection. I couldn't get enough. I really want to replay the Xenoblade series. If the Switch 2 actually up-reses at games like, you know, after this post, we would know that info, but I'm filming this before we know anything, you know, officially anything about the Switch 2, but if it's up-reses games like they say it is, I'm replaying the Xenoblade trilogy, because this is amazing, and I love this game so much. Next up, on October 5th, we got Super Mario Party. This is the first Mario Party to release on Switch, and the first new release in a long-running franchise. Now, I'm going to welcome a longtime fan of the Mario Party series who definitely did not love this game as much as others. Ryan, and yes.
Yeah, I didn't love it. And that's because, as you said, I played every single Mario Party since, like, the original first Mario Party on 64 to the last one on the Wii. Did not play Wii U, so did not play that, but a lot of you didn't have a Wii U. I know a lot of people who never had a Wii U. I was excited initially because I have a Switch. Here's a Mario Party game for it. That's a great idea because we haven't had one of those in a very long time for a Nintendo console. And I liked the originality of it. I thought there was some great stuff to that. I did not like, however, that many games felt so trivial that, oh my god, you get a consolation prize. First place, second place, third place. It's like, that's not what Mario Party ever did. Ever.
So for me, like, my history with the Mario Party franchise is very different. I've basically only played Mario Party DS and Mario Party 8 on the Wii. And then this one. And I loved Mario Party DS. I loved all the touchscreen minigames. I loved the little story mode, the single player aspects of it, and also playing a multiplayer when I could. So Super Mario Party, I didn't really have people to play this with when it launched, so I didn't play it a lot in multiplayer. I did like play around with, you know, with the com players and the mini games, but I didn't feel it was as fun as other ones. Especially, I'm a handheld player, and you can't play this game in handheld. You need the motion.
I played a lot with family. You played very little with it. I played a lot more with family. Like for me, my family, we come together, we play a Mario Party game. That's what we do in my family. My cousins and I, since back in our childhoods. The biggest thing for me is Mario Party is all about the boards. It's all about the boards, and maybe less about the bonus modes for extra content. The boards were so small, they had almost no real character, and I was shocked at how few boards there were. There were legitimately 4 boards, and that was it. I remember games with more, way more.
It was cool seeing that this game added online functionality for, not full online, but for some modes, and bringing it to the Switch. I did have fun playing it a bit, here and there when I did play it. I also played this at the Nintendo New York store one of the times that I was there before I moved to New York. It was fun playing on their massive screen that they have in that store. But at the end of the day, I did not play this game a ton, and it's not the greatest Mario Party. It's definitely not the worst Mario Party.
It's one of the worst. I would say it is one of the worst.
But also, he didn't play the 3DS entries or the Wii U entries.
Yeah, as I said, I'm not a handheld player. I'm like a console player. Because most of us in the family don't whip out our handhelds, and play together like that, because that's not something we ever did.
But luckily, the Switch did redeem the Mario Party franchise down the line, but we'll talk about it when those games
they did
come around in this series, so stay tuned. So yeah, Super Mario Party. Let us know in the comments what you think of this one, and yeah, let's discuss it. So, alright, now let's move on to the next game. Next up, on October 12th, we got The World Ends With You Final Remix. This is another Square Enix game that was published by Nintendo. This was a DS original, exclusive to that was later ported to mobile devices and then later to the Switch. I'm not sure if it got ported to other systems, but I don't think this one did. But I might be wrong. So this is still a Square game that is exclusive to Nintendo consoles. While it released on October 2nd in the US, it released September 27th, I think, in Japan. And I've heard very good things about this game, mostly for the DS version. I've heard mixed things about the actual Switch port. But again, it's another game that, while I've really wanted to try it out for myself, I have not had the opportunity to do so yet. So if you've played this, let me know in the comments what you think of it. Next up, on October 16th, we got Starlink Battle for Atlas. And I know you might be thinking, that's not a Nintendo game, that's a Ubisoft game. So why is it in this video? Because the Switch version of this game has some exclusive Star Fox content not included in any of the other versions. So, as I said, this is also covering Nintendo IP that other companies used. So this game was a multi-platform at launch, but only the Switch version had the Star Fox content, and all copies of the game came with this box for some of the Toys to Life aspects of the game. But if you didn't want that, the game is also fully playable for the digital version without needing to actually utilize the different ships and the different parts. You could also buy all the different ships and different parts digitally if you didn't want them physically. I've heard good things about this. Some people, said it wasn't that good, but I've heard good things about it. I just haven't had a chance to try for myself, so it's still sitting here. But maybe I will try it out at some point. Who knows? I don't know. It does seem interesting. Alright, next up on November 16th, we got Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. First of our Pokemon releases for the Switch. And this is a semi-remake of the original Pokemon Red and Blue, but also completely changes up the way the game is played. Now you have catching mechanics like the Pokemon Go game, where you kind of either swipe on the screen or use your Joy-Con or use your buttons to catch the Pokemon, and it's focused on the Kanto region with the original 151 Pokemon. It also came with a little, it's not really collector edition per se, but more of a controller bundle. And if you pre-ordered the game from 7-Eleven Japan, they had a really cute steelbook available with the game. I had a friend help me import this one, and then later it was available at Best Buy for, if you just bought the game, you can get the steelbook at Best Buy. So it's the same steelbook, but I got mine from Japan with my Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, and then I got from US Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. Actually, Amazon had this as like a pre-order mistake for like $50, and then they canceled it. I'm like, hey, that's not fair, and they gave me like some credit. So, but yeah, I did get this one. I didn't play Pikachu, but I did play Eevee. I never actually finished the main story of this game, but I had a lot of fun playing around, trying to catch a different Pokemon, and seeing how the game goes. I ended up just like trying to shiny hunt chain Nidorans, and then just did that for hours and hours and hours and hours, and then just got bored of the game. So probably shouldn't have done that and just focused on the main game. But I did really enjoy it. Really cute rehash of the Pokemon series. It's definitely not the greatest idea, but it was definitely cute and fun. And the Pokeball controller was a lot of fun to use, and I do have two. Another interesting thing about these collector editions, while the boxes look the same, on the outside, obviously besides for the language differences and a little bit of the artwork, inside they're very different. As while the US one came with the game and the box for the Pokeball, if you just if you just bought the Pokeball at retail, while the Japanese one had a special packaging that just had the Pokeball and not a retail style box. So we got the games, the Steelbook. I enjoy this one, definitely. So yeah, if you play this, let me know what you think of it. And Pikachu or Eevee? Which one are you? I'm Eevee, definitely Eevee. Alright, let's go on to the next one. Last game for the year, on December 7th, we got the long-awaited release of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. This is a franchise that is well beloved by video game and Nintendo fans, and is truly a celebration of everything video games has to offer. So, with this release, we got the game. In the US, we got a little collector edition bundle that came with the Pro Controller themed after the game, and this cool Steelbook. Over in Europe, they got a much bigger collector edition with really cool artwork on the front with the banner, and this one included the game, the GameCube controller themed after the re-release of the GameCube controller, and the GameCube controller adapter to play it on the Switch. Now, I don't actually have any of those items. I was in a store in Switzerland, and they just had this empty box sitting there, and because it was a little damaged, and the person just wanted the item, so just left the box in the store, so I took it, because I'm like, why not? Because this box is beautiful with the Everybody is Here banner. But yeah, so I did get my US one. I also went to the GameStop midnight release launch for this game. That was my first time doing that, which was really, really fun. Now, to join, because this is a game that's really all about playing with other people, I'm going to invite Chaim to talk about this game with me.
Oh yeah, I'll be player one anytime.
So yeah, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a fighting game, and I'm not big into the fighting game genre, but I've always enjoyed trying this game about a little bit here and there. But ultimately, I don't really love it too much.
Yeah, I've played since Super Smash Bros. The original, Super Smash Brothers original, Super Smash Brothers Melee, and Super Smash Brothers Brawl. Did not play the one on Wii U, but because this is like basically that same game, like Mario Kart 8, I'm basically saying this is that other game. I love the game. I haven't really played much of it because I've been playing other games, but Super Smash Bros. Has a lot of nostalgia for me because, A, there's the music that borrows from all the major game franchises of Nintendo, and, of course, all the characters, like main key point characters of all the Nintendo games. Did you even show the side of that?
I did.
Okay,
the characters
amazing.
on the side.
Yeah. Like, the fact that you could be playing Link, who's fighting against Mario, and then you have Samus there. You have so much coolness. But what you didn't mention about it as a fighting game is it's like a fighting game with a good bit of slapstick. There's a good bit of shtick in there. Like, if you go in and zoom in when you take a shot, you get the little anime style things around it, comic book style stuff that's like, pow! And you get all these little tiny comical things, like the bunny ears, like the big happy hammer, and then the hammer thing flies off, and it's just ridiculous.
Like, all the elements it brings in from all these video game franchises is really, really, really cool, and just combining them all. And just as a true celebration of gaming, all the music that's included, all the characters, all the courses. Like, honestly, my favorite part of the game is just going into the music player and listening to music from all the different franchises involved. And especially with, in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, they started adding third-party characters. And the way that expanded into Ultimate with so many amazing third-party characters, especially characters that weren't even represented properly beforehand on Nintendo systems. Obviously since then we've gotten more from some characters on here, but getting Microsoft characters, Bandai characters, Sega characters.
Let's not even say the word Microsoft characters,
ones.
Because the characters that we're referring to are rare characters.
Well, you have
when Banjo-Kazooie came, I cannot tell you how loud I screamed. My neighbors must have thought I was getting stabbed because I was so ridiculously excited about Banjo-Kazooie. Because Banjo-Kazooie is my childhood, man.
Well, you have Banjo and Minecraft and Steve from Minecraft, which those are both, not originally Microsoft IP, but those are Microsoft IP
but
now.
That is a rare IP. Like, it's associated with Rare. Like, every time you see it, even on a Microsoft thing, it still shows you the Rare logo. Therefore, it is a Rare game. We're not discussing that further, though, because what's the point? I just love that you had an expansion that continued ever since the Smash Brothers Melee, because you had few levels from the old Smash Brothers, and you then got larger, better music, sounds, and everything. What really stuck out was when I played Brawl, that one had a great Subspace Emissary. That was a great story mode type thing, where some of that did unlock a couple characters. I think it was Toon Link and maybe one other character. I don't remember which.
I think it was a lot of characters that you could have unlocked through Subspace Emissary or through playing it other ways. There was like 2 ways to unlock.
But that was the one I always did for it, and I remember I actually had the guidebook for it.
Yeah, so like I never played Super Smash Bros. Like seriously, I played a little bit here and there. Like I played the original one on a 64 emulator. I used to go to GameStop when I was younger, and just like while my mom was shopping in the mall, I would just go into GameStop and play Subspace Emissary on their Wii demo unit. And I was always enamored by how cool it was. I never got super far into it, but I've never owned it myself. I always wanted to and play that out. And when World of Light was initially announced, besides for that amazing song in that trailer, I was like excited for a new Subspace Emissary-like mode with a story and seeing all the characters. And while ultimately we didn't get that, I still think what they did with the spirits, with bringing in even more characters that they couldn't pin into the game as fighters, but bringing them in as spirits and changing up and like matching the spirits to different characters that were playable in the game. It just was really cool concept of that, how that all meshed together. But I never finished the spirits mode. I just, I was playing it.
I never finished it either.
I just ended up, because I wasn't enjoying I'm not a fighting game person, so I wasn't enjoying playing the game.
I don't really call it a fighting game personally. I call it like it doesn't really have a genre. I just call it like a slapstick fighting game because it's so not serious in a lot of sense. But when you play Subspace Emissary, that has an actual story. And that the other thing, like my big itch to pick with this, is the fact that in the original Smash Brothers Melee, you had Zelda and Sheik. Sheik and Zelda were basically the same character because Sheik is her alter ego. And in Brawl, they still continued that. But in this game, when they separated those two, basically totally takes away the fact that that is Zelda's alter ego. And I hate it. I resent that so much.
Yeah, it was always really fun, even when I got to the point where I wasn't playing the game anymore, but just like seeing the online reactions to the new announcements and how excited people were going to be, and even being at the Nintendo New York store for watching a direct where some characters were announced, seeing online reactions to people, it was really, really fun just every time we would get a new character announcement. And
I do not want to see another Nintendo game done like this, because there was a lot of DLC to get a lot of extra characters, and I think if Nintendo's going to do something this scale, they should just charge 1.5 times the price of the game, because they did that for Tears of the Kingdom. They could do it for this. Imagine paying, instead of like $50-$60 for a game, you paid $90 or $100 for a game, and you got everything with it.
I mean, we'll see what they end up doing, because DLC is just a part of gaming these days.
I don't like DLC. I don't have to like it.
Most people don't like DLC, but that's just the fact of that's where the industry is now.
Yeah, but by saying it now, we're acknowledging that there are people who don't like it, and that's also a thing.
Yeah, and while as I was saying, this game isn't one that I'm gonna play much, except when some people talk me into it. Just being a celebration of gaming, I do love the game, and I'm having a lot of fun currently trying to collect slowly, I'm not rushing any of it, but collecting all the amiibos for each fighter available in the game. And out of the 94 amiibos that are available for the Smash, I have 72 of them, so I just need 72 more. Or sorry, not 70, 22 more. Yes. So Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. What do you think of the game?
Was it the Ultimate?
And if you are a big fan of the game, who is your main character? For me, I use the Mii Sword Fighter with the Shulk, not Shulk, with the Rex costume, because Rex and my love for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I'm like, even if I can't play that, I'm gonna play with that costume. But not everyone has the costume when I play the game.
So let's say you can't pick that. Who do you pick?
And
I
didn't do Pyra and Mythra. I would play Pyra and Mythra, but I don't actually know how they control. So I feel like the last time I played this game with someone, they had remapped the button controls, but didn't tell me, and it was so bad.
That wasn't me. I promise that wasn't me.
But also had fun playing this game once. By the Super Mario Wonder launch, I was waiting outside the Nintendo store.
Oh, that was great. That was great. Who were you even playing with?
Some random person on the line had Super Smash Bros. Ultimate with a projector, just projecting on a garage door on 48th Street.
And then Doug Bowser is just like walking right by.
Yeah, it was fun, and we're just like playing Smash, and no one could see anything.
But say you can't pick a me character. Say you can't pick a me. Who are you picking?
It depends on my mood in the moment.
But let's say you're not picking a me. Who would your go-to be?
I don't have a go-to. I just decide. Then
I never really had a go-to character. I will admit, the one I've gravitated towards the most is actually Bowser, because I really have recently more related to Bowser, and I can't explain why, really.
On the 3DS, I used to use Marth or Lucario a lot.
But I also used Peach a lot. When she came to Smash Bros. Melee, I was Peach. I have since that day wanted to literally whip out a frying pan from God knows where and beat somebody with it. I have always thought of that. Oh, and like a golf club, too. I mean, who has never thought of that?
So last game that we got in 2018. This was definitely a really fun year for all the different Nintendo releases, and we got such a cool variety of different experiences, different gimmicky stuff, and capped off by one of the biggest games for the Switch and gaming history in general. This is one of the most important franchises of gaming history, just because of all the crossovers.
You could say it's one of them, but there's others.
But just because of the celebration of gaming that nothing else replicates as much as Smash does. So 2018 was great, and let me know in the comments what some of your favorite third-party releases from 2018 were, and what your favorite games from 2018 in general were. And it doesn't even have to be Switch games. Let's talk about any games, even though I'm mostly playing on Switch, but we could talk about almost anything.
Yeah, I might be on PS5 more.
Well, that wasn't out in 2018. So this was fun, and I'm going to link past and future videos in the description below, and follow along, share with your friends, discuss in the comments.
Play more video games.
Play video games. Stop watching my. No, I'm kidding. Don't stop watching my videos. Don't just play more video games. Video games. Anyways, this was fun, and stay tuned for 2019 and beyond. This is fun. All right, thank you for watching. Have a good one.
Thank you for having me.
See you all in the next one.